Hello, welcome to Nezo's Bad Shop. It's Nezo, your host. It's been a while, as per tradition. However, you're looking at something that I've been meaning to film for a really long time, and I actually just got in the way of it. It is the D-Like LP-86, aka what I call the Leany Boy 5000. And you can see why I call it that, because look at it lean! Yes! And it's taken me quite a long time to get this thing into somewhat of a working, proper filming condition. Look at it lean now, yeah! Okay, so, reason why is because I had a lot of the wires for the battery and the speed control and even the radio receiver wires, they were just not routed in such a nice enough way, which I will show you in a couple of minutes when I take the body off. And so it was preventing the lean that you're seeing here, this glorious amount of leany boy-ness. It was preventing the lean after a couple of laps. It would make the car lean only to one side, so see it leaning there? It basically wouldn't transition and lean to the other side, making it hard to drive. So eventually, with some help from the Facebook LP-86 owners group and a couple of the guys here that have LP-86s and us trying a bunch of things, over the last little long while, I finally got this car into a spec, a running condition, where we have proper drivability and all the leaniness. Now, for those of you watching at home and have been waiting for this shakedown and waiting for my opinion, basically, I like it. I do like this car. Now, I must say, even though it is a low cost point car, like something like under or around $200 US, something like this, it's low cost. It is definitely not a beginner type car, so do not buy this if you are thinking about getting into RC your first time and you want this to be your first car. I would not recommend that. This is more of a, second car, third car, project car, fun car, show off at a car show car, get a couple of them together, run them together type car. It's more of for the laughs rather than the seriousness. I'd imagine at some point there'll be a class created for just this car for drift competitions or skill competitions. And that makes perfect sense. But otherwise, it's just for a lot of the fun. You can totally tandem with it and everything else, but it's definitely not a beginner type car because my test driver today, Mark, aka MJ from Strictly Sideways, Team Strictly Sideways, he said when he first started driving it, it's a little bit weird and unintuitive, mostly because you want to make the leany action happen, and it will happen both naturally, but also when you turn the steering wheel, the car will want to articulate side to side. So if you, basically, when you drive it, the harder you try to send the car and make the lean happen, the more likely you are to actually spin out. The main reason is, even though I have this body jacked up to the top of the body post pegs, see how much of the skirt I'm leaning on? Look at this. Look at that skirt! Just rubbing skirt off, basically, but other than like those sort of things, from one side it kind of looks pretty cool. Like, look how cool that looks, and then, oh god, the car's falling apart. So, I mean, there's that. Now, this is the stock form, completely out of the box. So what you're seeing is the factory little foam pieces are in the flexing area, which I will illustrate with the body off. So this is the maximum amount of lean you can get with the factory stopper pad / double-sided tape. And it's quite a lot. Look at all that lean! And this is an old HPI, Toyota Tsuruno, Corolla A86, Panda, Tofu delivery, etc., blah, 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 body. And even so, it's Saturday, there's lots of guys here. And even so, we getting tons of lean, and see how he kind of chucked it into the corner and it rubbed the side skirt and spun out. So that is a thing. But yeah, this is the car in its totally stock form. There's no mods on this car. Everything is 100% factory. So I just wanted to show what you can do and what you can get out of it. And the ball diff in the rear, that does come factory with it, is set in the factory setting, which is more on the stiff side. So I loosen the diff off and make a couple changes, do some more reading. I'm sure I can optimize this car. It's been out for a while now. There's been lots of 3D print mods for it and things like that. So lots of stuff you can totally do to it. But yeah, I would not recommend it as a beginner type car though, that is for sure. It's definitely not something I would consider for beginners, but if you've been doing this for a little bit, or if you want a bit of a challenge or something different to run, low cost, you know, this is definitely up your alley. But otherwise, yeah, I wouldn't recommend it to beginners, and you can run other bodies on it, but it was designed for Toyota 86s to mimic this style of body roll and lean on these old cars. But otherwise, yeah, it's pretty great, and it's a lot of fun. It just took me a while to get it going, and it did frustrate me at one point, where sometimes you try to drive the car straight. Look, see that? See how just before the transition, the body didn't roll over right away? So there's times you'll go to drive it straight and it will literally still be leaning over on one side, which is weird, and it does mess with you at times. So that's where the visual part sometimes screws with you when you actually try to do big time leanies and stuff like that. You'll turn in too early, or you'll be just a little too aggressive on the input, and the car will punish you right away, and it'll lean over or it won't transition. There, see, look, see how lazy that transition was? So there's nothing really regulating my lean right now or return to center in the stock form. Yeah, a little bit lazy on that lean, so you can kind of see what I mean. But that's easily fixed. There's all kinds of, there's like, I've seen at least 6 different mods for this type of spring, or this type of lean management, so to say, where you can control your amount of lean and amount of body roll. There's lots of different ideas out there going on, but this is mostly what it does in its stock form, so at least I could just show you the potential. Look at it. It just makes me laugh and giggle. It's just a lot of fun. Oh, you heard that, right? Okay, bring it over here, Richard. Okay, now that we've chased it around the track a little bit, I'm going to show you what I was talking about. If I can get the pins off, one-handed. It does come with body post and pins. Like I said, this is an old HPI body, all right, super old. So there it is. You've seen this on my channel already a couple times. Yeah, so I gave lots of slack for the speed control. There's a speed passion setup, the old Reventon S and a Dokyo 3.0 8.5 motor there, so I put lots of zip in it anyway. So, someone's arriving with an exhaust. But my other problem was I wasn't running the full-size 2-cell, I was running the 1-cell, so it wasn't as much lean. And I had the terminals up here, so these were like stretching, I was having to make them longer, and that was hindering actually my ability to do this. Because the wires would go taut or they'd move and it would restrict. It was a bit of a nightmare. Even still, all the speed control wires here for the motor wires, look how I've wrapped it back and around and back up through, literally just so it's all out of the way of the body back there, so you can see through the body, so that this hole moves and doesn't touch anything, because I had all kinds of weird touchy issues for the last several months, and I took so long to get this thing on the shakedown on the track. One, finding a driver in time, and then 2 was making this actually function in a good enough way where I could go more than 5 laps without it literally not staying like this the whole time. So now it actually functions now, and I've done the shakedown. We can do some other stuff. The guys can get back on track. I literally hijacked the track for about 10 minutes here. They're all looking at me waiting, but it's okay. So after I rerouted these wires, put my ESC back here, because you see this whole pivots, like this pivots and does not touch the rear pod, the rear motor pod, drivetrain, etc. And you remember from down here, damper with no spring, right? And then where the pivot point is there, down here, right? You see that? So down here in that area, see right there where those 2 screws are? See that foam? That's the factory foam pieces. So that's the original that comes with the car kit. So with me installing just those pieces, this is the maximum amount of lean I can get. And you will note, like before, as you lean the car, it does sort of it does sort of steer it based on the way the front end is set up here. So the more you actually steer into the corners, the more it will naturally want to do the leany stuff. It's also kind of cool by design. So anyway, that's it, the LP-86, and that's my shakedown of it. So overall opinion, I do like it. It is fun, but it is a bit of a challenge. And to get it doing the leaning stuff nicely and to get it to return to center, you'll have to do a little bit more from the box. But in terms of just throwing electronics at it and building it from a kit, adding a body, you can't go wrong really for a fun sort of project car to just run around, with a couple other guys that got the same type of car, or just be a super leany boy and have fun out there on the track or the parking lot or whatever, because This is all FRP, fiberglass reinforced plastic. So I mean, you can beat the crap out of it to a degree. It's not carbon, so you don't have to worry about scratching it, but they already have a full carbon conversion kit for this, so you can jazz it right up all the way. Yeah, other than that, yeah, it's just a fun kit, inexpensive, derived from an F1 style car chassis, and direct drive, motor to spur there, and the ball differentials in there. Yeah, you can't really ask for more for what it is, and it's just a bunch of fun. But I would not recommend it to a beginner, absolutely not, because it is a little bit to get set up correctly, and driving it is a little bit of a handful at first to get used to. But other than that, once you kind of get used to the visual, then it becomes a lot of fun and a pretty good challenge, and get a couple of them together and away go. But I'd really like to see a drift class for this, like LP-86 specific drift class, where a bunch of them battle out and who's got the best setup one, and just that for a bit. Just almost like a spec class. If we ran this completely, just chassis only, or sorry, box stock setup, and then whatever electric bits, that would be a pretty interesting stock class. But otherwise, that's it. And yes, can definitely recommend it. It's a ton of fun, but it does require a little bit of setup, and you kind of have to know what you're doing, or at least have a friend nearby so they can help you out. But we're always here on the internet. There's several videos of it. I've done quite a few now. This one might be the last one for a little bit, unless I get some others going, or showcase another one, or go to a different track. Otherwise, yeah, get to film some other things too. There's some other stuff coming down the pipe, still got to work on some other cars. But this was a big one I've been wanting to film for a while, and at least now it actually works, and I can confidently take it on track, actually run laps, and not have to worry about it acting funny, because it actually just ran pretty decently there, and at the test just before we filmed, I hit record. So yes, thank you for watching, and like, comment, subscribe. More content coming soon. I did a big move, and I'm gonna have a new studio space set up, a new shooting space set up, and more stuff coming on track as well. Tune things and this and that, and the track system, blah, 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 blah. So see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.